Hey everybody, it's Kelly and I have something special for you today. I have a layout share. The reason I'm doing this is it's Sunday night of St. Patrick's Day and I was at a weekend crop. So our crop starts at noon-ish. This time it was 12:30 on Thursday and then it goes until 3 o'clock on Sunday. So I got there at 12:30 on Thursday and then I left about noon on Sunday today. And the only reason I left so early, because man, my mojo was flowing. The only reason I left that early was because I had a design team project that I needed to get done. And it involved taking some special photographs and I needed to get home. So I sometimes will video record when I'm at a retreat, but honestly guys, I try not to. I like to just scrapbook without any pressure. And if you do YouTube videos, you'll know what I mean. Things like making sure my head isn't in the way and that I list everything, and that process takes a while. So it's kind of cool that I just get to do this. I will tell you that this weekend I did 64 pages. So two page layouts are counted as 2 pages versus just one layout. So 64 pages in a weekend, guys. And yesterday on Saturday, I ran and did a couple of errands. So I was gone for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. On Friday, I did run some errands as well too. And I was gone for about 2.5 hours. So the one thing about this one, I was up late. I mean, I was up until 1:30 or 2 or even 2:30 on Saturday night in the morning. That is not normally me. I am a night owl by nature, but not since I've had to work. So anyway, the mojo was flowing. I did not want to leave today, but I knew I had to or I'd never get done. So as I'm doing this, I've taped my design team project, gotten that together. The only thing I haven't put away is my paper, and that's because I keep them in the Cropper Hopper paper envelopes, and then I put them in a paper holder. And let me grab one for you so you can see. So this is how I store my paper. So if you go to my playlist, I have a scrapbook organization thing, I believe. Well, I think it's scrapbook organization or scrapbook room it's called, and you can see how I store things in my room normally. So normally I store them on my Kalich shelves in these kinds of envelopes, and that's how I store them. They're alphabetical within a couple of my, I think 3 of my boxes. When I go to a crop, I have a bunch of these because this is how I used to store my paper, but they take up a lot more room in my Kalich shelves, so I don't do that except for things like specialty paper. Like all my holiday paper is grouped in this kind of thing. Holiday paper, birthday paper, that kind of stuff are grouped in these. Otherwise, they're not. But these are the file folders that are meant to hold those papers. So these hold things really nicely because they can either go on a table behind me. In this particular case, it was a table next to me, or you know, you can put them on the floor around you. But I take almost all my paper with me. Not everything, but a lot of it. So that will be the next big question. I did 64 pages. The most I've ever done is 99. I don't remember if I told you that or not. That was a couple years ago when I was doing one of my nephew's weddings books, and those layouts were much less intricate than what I do on a normal basis. I do have an album share for those if you want to check my playlist for that. But anyway, so those were, you know, like a couple pieces of paper or a piece of paper with a couple embellishments. That's the way both of my nieces wanted their wedding albums done. So those were quicker, but even still, guys, 64 layouts in essentially about 3 days, basically. So I'm gonna just get rid of this file folder so I have room here. So I do not take page kits, period. I do not create them, anything like that at all. As I go through, I'll show you how I scrapbook, but what I do is I take my scrapbook room. And, you know, that's a joke, but it's really not a joke because literally my baskets that I have my embellishments in, let me show you this. See that? This is my basket. I found these at Target. I actually just saw this at Meijer, and I think you can get them, you know, in lots of different places. They're divided. This I literally pick up. I put it in a 31 large tote. And I do the same thing with the one with my letter stickers and other embellishments. Pop those in there. This goes on my desk at the crop. So I scrapbook at the crop as much like I can at home. Here's my, I'm going to try not to hit the thing. Here's my basket of enamel dots and pearls and all that kind of stuff. This goes with me as is. And I pull from there. Now I have to go back through this because they were in kind of a color order, but after the weekend they definitely are not. So that's how I really like to scrap. As much as I try to do it as much as I normally do. My letter stickers are in the baskets that they normally are in. All of that to make it easy as I can for me. I do use a different trimmer because I use a Caterpillar Pro trimmer. And that does not gut paper, and I want the opportunity to be able to gut paper when I'm there, and I don't want to have to travel with 2 trimmers. I do use 2 trimmers at home. So anyway, so that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the process of all the layouts, and not the process for all the layouts. I'm going to walk you through all the layouts, and then on some of them kind of tell you how I arrived at the process and how I scrapbook 64 layouts in 3 days. And guys, I'm talking, I'm laughing, I'm drinking wine. And by the way, if you're doing this at night, happy St. Patrick's Day, and there's my glass of wine. I know that's not beer, but I always tell people I'm Irish and my name is Kelly, so I don't have to do things for St. Patrick's Day because I'm always Irish. But anyway, so if you're watching this at night or the afternoon, grab a glass of wine. If not, grab a mimosa or coffee or whatever your poison is and sit back because this is probably going to be a long one. So this is the only thing that I had a page kit for. And the reason that is this friend and I, this is me, my sister, went to this retreat together. We were supposed to, a few months ago, do this layout together because we bought donut embellishments and stuff together, and then we're going to share it, and she forgot to bring the stuff that she was going to scrapbook. So I don't know if she even brought them this time. She ended up getting sick, so I just scrapbooked my layout, took half of everything, handed her the other half. We had 2 different sheets of donut paper. I used this one. I have another sheet that I'll kind of save. I have a envelope of kind of special papers, so like if I have an ice cream paper, I'll grab that. That will appear later, as a matter of fact, too. So anyway, this is the only thing I had a kit put together. I did have to add some labels, which I have to look at this because I have to go back to, I just did a layout that had my bib on it for this, where the 14, I had a kind of 14 pictures of, a collage of 17 photos from the 5Ks I did last year, the 17 5Ks I did, and my time and everything was on there. So I didn't fill that out. So I'm going to put this one to the side in a special place because that I need to finish this journaling. Other than that, I think that's the only journaling I need to finish. This is a recollections paper, just so you know that. This is a Dear Lizzie cut apart from ages ago, or not, yeah, a printable, sorry, from ages ago. Some EK Success donuts, which are so cute, I can't stand it. And then I added the alphabet to that. So that I will put aside so I can do that. So here is how the process kind of works for me. What I do is I start scrapbooking, I find some pictures I like, and I just start scrapbooking. And so I grabbed my Elle Studio envelopes. So I'm not really using a page kit, but I will grab a manufacturer's envelope, and I remembered that I had a yellow paper in Elle Studio, so that's where this all started out. So this is a little layout about lunch at this place. And what I tend to do is, this was my first layout, and so then I started going from there. Okay, so Elle Studio. Then I had some race photos to do from last Thanksgiving, so I grabbed that. I'm hoping you can see this. It's going to be a little hard on my 2-pagers because I don't have my camera backed off far enough, otherwise you'd be, so here's what it looks like. I'm gonna get this as close as you can. There's nothing over on this side over here, so I'm just gonna push it this way so you can see it. So I grabbed my Elle Studio, fall folder. So I kind of have a page kit thing going here, but I had to add this paper to it. And I do have a packing video for crops, so you can look at that as well if you want to see how I pack. And basically nothing has really changed on how I pack for crops. So I added this paper to it, but these embellishments were already in the fall. This paper I never thought I would use, and look at that, there it is on a layout. So there's that layout, and again, I'm working with my Elle Studio. And then here is another Elle Studio paper. I thought I would use, I think I went from that other one thinking fall, thought I would use fall, and this is not really, part of this collection is fall. I added this paper to it. Some of these things are fall, but most of it is just kind of Elle Studio stuff and other stuff that I pulled in. So that's, now you see how my mind is working as I'm going together. These embellishments sit in the Elle Studio envelopes. I don't know why I do that differently than I do with other manufacturers, but I do. As most other manufacturers, they're in other spots. So then I was in my envelope near, and I was kind of going through, not exactly by date order, but something closer to that. And I knew that I had these, some photos from Labor Day weekend of last year. And actually, photos from Labor Day weekend last year, let me go back because it goes this way. So I did this one first. Again, this is another 2-page layout. I think you can see that there. And yes, I do 2-page layouts, guys. So these are Pebbles papers. That's where these came from, some Elle Studio pieces and other pieces here. So I did this layout, and then while I was doing that, I saw this piece of paper with the ice cream cones and popsicles and all those kinds of things on it, and I knew I had this photo. So I grabbed this photo, grabbed this paper, grabbed the ice cream embellishments that I have, and did this layout. And I store my photos in these Cropper Hopper envelopes. And what it is these are the big envelopes that hold the smaller, there's a smaller envelope that it holds 3 or 4 of these. But these are the big ones, and I just store my photos in these. I have them dated with a possible title or some information on the back. Now these are all in date order. They were not, but since I was going to this crop, I wanted to put them in date order because I really wanted to be working on my stepkids' albums and my great nephew's album, and this was a good way to do it. And then this is all that I have of photographs of my own to scrapbook. Let me show you the other. This is scary. Here's what I have to scrap of my stepkids, although these were both almost completely full. That's how many photographs I scrapped out of there. This one is down to like a third, and this one has room in it. I might actually be able to get these together, and I might do that, but these are date order. Actually, I said my stepkids. This is my great nephew. And then here's my stepkids stuff. These were both full. I think the other one was about half, one of them was about half full. So I scrapbooked a lot. So if you think 64 pages, let's say 2 photos per page on an average, but there are more than that because I did a lot of things with multiple photos. I scrapbooked 120 photos over the course of that weekend. So this is how I store my photos. You can find those on Amazon. If you really have a question about that, let me know, and I'll provide you the link. So, okay, so I went from that Pebbles collection to this because I saw this ice cream paper. Then, I think I had just seen the race photos. I did this, so I had this photo that I wanted to do. So this is kind of a one-off one. I used the Simple Stories I Am collection here with this. So there were no other pages. Then, as I was going through my own photo pocket, I have a photo from the company that my dad worked at, basically from the time he was 18. So, and then I worked for the same company in high school and through college when I was home during the summer on breaks. And and Facebook friends with a couple of the people from this family, and one of them posted this photo of the front of the building and 3 of the people that were involved in it. And I just thought, you know, I really need to just document a little bit of this, because it's going to spark my memory. I can smell what this place smells like, because it's an it was an auto parts store. This does still exist, but not under the same name or anything like that. So anyway, so I got this documented. This is a Heidi Swapp collection. I don't remember the name of it. It's an older collection. So then what I did is I had this photo, and I wanted to find something that it could work with. And for some reason, I was thinking about this Heidi Swapp collection. So I pulled the envelope with this, and man, did I scrapbook the heck out of this collection, to the point that I used more than half of what I had from this collection. So that's awesome. So then now what I'm going to do is I kind of have these in date order. I'm going to pull these out because this last one is really last. So now I'm scrapbooking with that collection, and I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layouts. And what I did is I got tired of using the collection. So, and I'll do that. I'll scrap until either I don't have photos to use with something I happen to be working with, or I don't, or I'm tired of working with the collection. And that's what happened here, is I got tired of working with the collection, so I moved on to the next one. I'll show you that in just a second. So this is still that same Heidi Swapp collection. I don't remember what this one is called. I got a paper pad. That's where this all came from. The next one, I remember what it is. So just adding some Elle Studio pieces to it. So again, I have an envelope of this paper, but there were no embellishments to go with this. So I started pulling in my own embellishments, and they worked great. So my great nephew here. Again, my great nephew. Here, I'm kind of making, there was a cut apart sheet, so I'm making my own embellishments by fussy cutting and that kind of a thing, and just pulling other things in here. This also is from that collection as well. So I just pulled in, this was so colorful. I pulled this sheet and this paper, and then just started pulling other papers around it that I could. Again, pulling in some Elle Studio and things from the cut apart sheet. Here's another one. So this one, I wanted this, and let me cover this. Sorry, guys. Since he's naked, I'm going to cover this. And you can't see anything, but I'm going to just do it because I don't think that's a great thing to be having out on the internet. Anyway, so because this is a bath photo, here we go. Because this is a bath photo, I wanted something that reminded me of bubbles, but I also like the softness of like babies and that kind of stuff. And I knew I had vellum with dots on it. So I found this silver dot vellum, and I put it over this paper, which is soft and baby-like, added this piece from that collection, and then added again Elle Studio. I've got some things from the Chamel sticker book in here, and I now have a layout. Again, kind of creating my own page kits as I go. So that's that one. Here's that darling great nephew of mine again. This is another Heidi Swapp thing, and then just adding some Elle Studio embellishments here. And what I do is my Elle Studio embellishments, I keep in those same photo storage sleeves, and these are just the die cuts that I cut apart. I mean, this will last me the rest of my life, really. I never have another reason to buy them again, but I have them separated into a couple different colors, and I use those frequently. I pull from them. So that's what I'm doing here. This is a little Dear Lizzie embellishment. I'm so glad to get this on a page because I love this little vellum thing, but I always found it hard to use. Then here is my great nephew again after a little bath, and he's looking awfully cute. So again, that same Heidi Swapp thing, and not a lot of embellishments on here. The paper's doing a lot of the work here. So just a couple little things, letting the paper do some work here. And then again, this is that same collection, and I think this was the last one that I scrapped here, and that has just a darling, I loved this really pretty coral paper, and it is coral. It's probably going to read very pink to you. I have a picture of this. I will post to the scrapbook message boards, and I also always post my layouts to Flickr, although I will not post that one with that photo of my sweet nephew, or great nephew, to Flickr, just because he's naked and I don't want to do that. And like I said, you can't see anything, but I'm pretty sensitive to that. Okay, so this is the last one with that Heidi Swapp collection. Like I said, I don't want the name of it is because it's from a paper pad and I already pulled it apart. Then, since I was in that envelope behind all of that paper, I had some pieces from September Skies, Heidi Swapp September Skies left. And this is probably 5 years old, at least. Probably 5 years old. And that's what this is. So again, now, because I was just scrapping photos of my nephew, I just was in his envelope. And in this case, I was not going exactly in date order, but I was kind of trying to get the oldest stuff that I had done to get done, just because I want to, the next time I see him, I want to give him another album if I can, and I think they'll be ready. I have another retreat in April, so I do 3 a year, one with the group I just came from, and then one in the spring, and then one in the fall with another group. And that was the original ones I did. So, but I love both of them. They go to 2 different places. So anyway, so here again, September Skies, just really working with some of the cut aparts there, and then also from a sticker book here. And I think this is the Dear Lizzie sticker book, yeah, because I recognize these 2 patterns. So this is a Dear Lizzie sticker book, and by sticker books I mean these sticker books. So these are the ones that you could originally get at Michael's, and now you can get them at Hobby Lobby, and you can also get them at Tuesday Morning. Notice Hobby Lobby, $19.99, although I bought this at 40 or 50 off. $6.99 from Dear Lizzie. I just bought this about 2 weeks ago. So I think I have 3 of these that I probably paid half price for, and then one that I found at Tuesday Morning. And there is a haul video for that in my haul video playlist. Okay, so again, September Skies, just working. Now you can see what I've done. This is Dear Lizzie again. So what I've done is I'm using the Heidi Swapp collection. I pulled in this piece of green paper from my faux solids, and I take an accordion file of my faux solid colors. It's about this wide, well, 12 by 12 wide, but about that deep. And I have a little pocket for each of the colors. And so then I take like my polka dots and my stripes and those kinds of things that I normally would call my faux solid, so that I can just pull from it when I need to. This again, and here I use that same green piece of paper on this next one. I think this was actually first and then that one, but whatever. Again, this is from the Dear Lizzie sticker book here, and then more of that Heidi Swapp September Skies collection, and letting the paper do a lot of work, but I do have embellishments on here. Sometimes when I'm scrapbooking at retreats, I realize I don't put titles on layouts. I was pretty good about that this time, but I used a lot of letter stickers, which I always find interesting because normally I'm a thickers girl, and I do definitely have thickers on these. But now watch this. Okay, here's this, right? September Skies. I pulled in a little Dear Lizzie piece that I got at Hobby Lobby. Here's the thickers, and again, really minimal embellishments on this page. I'm letting the paper do the work, but look what I did here. I had these letter stickers out, thickers letter stickers out, kept them on my desk because they coordinated with the colors once I found them. And then I have got them here. Now this is making me a little crazy because this particular alphabet, which is from Hobby Lobby, is not sticking, and I've lost the N. So I better find the N or it's going to make me really, really crazy. I'll have to look because I have had this up and downstairs and around, and I'm just checking the back of a few layouts here to see if I've got that. What I'm hoping is that it's sitting like on my way down to my scrap room, which is in my basement. I don't see it. Anyway, I'll go looking for that to see if I can find it, and I'm going to have to glue these down. So this is going on that pile with the donut run. Oh, here it is. Here's the N. So I'm going to have to, and I knew better. I should have used my Scotch Tacky glue on these, but I didn't. But I will now because they're not sticking at all. It's crazy. All right. So then I did that, and then I just bought the new Vicki Boutin collection, pieces of it. I bought the stickers and the 6x8 pad, and then some of the papers. This was my absolute favorite piece of paper, and what I do is when I have a new collection like that, I put it into one of my envelopes of paper, and I put it on a different shelf on my Calyx unit, so that until I've used it for like 4 layouts or 5 layouts, I don't put it away into my alphabetical paper, the way my papers are arranged alphabetically. I want to use it so that I don't come back a year later and find out that I haven't even touched a collection. So that's how I do this. So I'm like, this is probably my current favorite piece of paper. I am going to use this weekend, and that's what I did. So the next thing I did was, I think when I was going through my photos at one point, I went back to, after I scrapbooked my nephew there, the last 3 layouts were things from my own. So this is about a favorite dinner I have in summer. This was a toast to my dad. And then this was about a summer festival. So now I'm back in my own photo, and I've pulled, I'll pull like 5 or 6 photos that I think, okay, I really want to get this scrap now. I'm inspired to get the story told. That's where this came from. I looked at the colors and went, Vicki Boutin, that will be perfect for this. This is about my LaCroix addiction that I have. And if I get to a place where there's a lot of choices, I'll buy a bunch of different ones. So in this case, I had 5 cases of different flavors. So this is these are some die cuts from an earlier collection of hers, and also stickers that I got in a cheeky studio kit, but work with this layout. And so I like, in all things find happiness and joy. And then this says love everything about you, because I do love everything about LaCroix. You're my favorite. And then I just distressed these a little bit because they were very white. So that's my current, and I think the name of this collection is Kaleidoscope, but don't quote me on that, okay? Next, when I was going through that envelope of Vicki Boutin papers, I love this one. I'm like, okay, second favorite piece of paper, that needs to be used up. So I went to find a photo that worked with it. I know that my grandsons wear a lot of bright colors, and I found this, the photo, and basically it's my stepson with his, at that time, 1-year-old, who is going to be 2 in 5 days from this, and they used to take walks together on Fridays. So he just took this photo, put it to Facebook, and that's all. There's no real story behind this. It's just the last Friday walk with a 1-year-old. So that, when they get this, you know, Phil, oh yeah, I remember that. We used to walk together. All right, so that's that. Then I saw this piece of paper, and I'm like, ooh, bubbles. And I knew that I had photos of the bubbles. Now, you're probably wondering, how the heck do I remember the photos I have with all those photos to scrapbook? Well, remember I just told you that I put them all in date order, so I've been through them recently. And as I'm, you know, scrapbooking, I don't know, this is about 20 or 30 layouts in, somewhere in that neighborhood. I've been through those photos a lot at this point. So I saw this paper, thought, that reminds me of Bubbles. I want to scrapbook those photos of Bubbles. And even though he's wearing a pink and blue shirt, and there is not a stitch of that pinky color on here. Oh, actually, that's not true. There's some pink right there. There's not much of that pinky color here. I did it anyway. And then I thought, oh my gosh, those bubbles, those circles remind me of buttons. I'm going to stick buttons on this to make it look like bubbles. And some of the girls, when they saw this layout done, they were like, oh my gosh. So that's this one. And then I also love this piece of paper. I mean, these are all the rainbow pieces from that collection. So again, I went back in the envelope and found something that worked with it. I love the blue in his shirt and that crazy tongue, which kind of reminds me of not a rainbow, but a lot of color and the kind of way this color is. So I grabbed that. And then here I think is the sticker sheet that I bought that goes with that collection. And this wants to lift on me. So I'll do a little repair on that. You know, sometimes that happens. Okay, so that's that. Then I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I had made, well, let's see, 4 layouts. So I don't know if we might have gone to dinner at this point or whatever. But I was like, you know what? I think I'm done scrapping with that collection. I want something different. And I just was in Florida about 3 weeks ago, and I decided I really wanted to scrapbook those photos. So I went back to my envelope, and I knew I had this Kaiser Craft collection that was very beachy called You Bud Dreams, I think. And I think if I remember correctly, I asked this a while ago, that's like a province or an area in Australia. That's where that comes from, because Kaiser Craft's an Australian company. So I went to that. And again, I'm letting the paper do a lot of this, but there are there's a sticker sheet on there. There's a cut apart sheet. So that's where some of this stuff is coming from. Added my own paperwork, my own cardstock paper here, and have a layout put together. And it looks very embellished, even though a lot of it is the paper, which is kind of cool. So there's that one. Then as I was going through, I saw this, and you guys, I'd totally forgotten that I own this beautiful transparency. Oh my gosh, let's get this on a layout. So that's what I did here. I put it just on a piece, and I actually even had a piece of white cardstock sitting behind it, because I think at one point I was going to use it and didn't. So again, I'm just using some pieces, just, some pieces, little border strip here. This collection, I think I have 3 sheets of paper. 2 of them are the same. They're an awesome wood paper, but I ended up not using them. And then there's one piece of something else. I'm going to pull that out of the envelope when I actually put this away and just sort it into my my faux solids. And I do have like a wood section for that as well, in the browns. So I'm going to do that, because really this collection is basically done. And the reason I'm going to put this aside, because I have some cheeky Studio Flair that might look cool on this. I'm not sure the colors are right though, so I'm going to check that out. If it is, they've got shells on them, so I'm going to check that out. I may add something to this, I may not. I may leave it as it is, and it's fine as it is, but I thought since I have that, I might just kind of take a little peek and maybe do that. I was reminded of that because I just did that layout. Okay, again, this is that Kaiser Craft collection, just adding, some things. And this is a little crooked as I'm looking at this. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remedy that, and I'm not going to be able to, so I'm just going to leave. Well, maybe I can. Let me see. You guys are watching me do a little surgery here. This is what happens, right? Oh, there we go. Now I got it. Okay, that's better. So anyway, again, mostly the collection, little bit cardstocks and border strips, and then these are wood veneer enamel. Well, they're not enamel shapes, but dots from Teresa Collins. And when I put this this cardstock on, it's textured, has a really cool texture to it. I'm like, oh, those wood dots have almost the same color as this, and I grabbed them and added it in. So since I grabbed them and put them on that then transferred to this, but I only had 3 dots, so I went and grabbed my wood veneer. So added that in. This is an Elle Studio card, and then other, but the pieces here are all from that collection. Well, not all from that collection. This is from, this was in my wood file, and I was thinking I was going to do wood with this paper because this is from the collection. And when I went to grab the wood, I was paging through it, saw the back side of this paper, and realized it would match perfectly. So instead of doing wood, I ended up with this, but this. So kind of interesting how those things work. Okay, so this was cool, by the way. We were chasing dolphins. So I am now pretty much, I still have photos from this trip to do, but the beachy parts of it are done. And I was kind of tired because I had done like 4 layouts with this, and was, like I said, exhausted most of the paper supplies. So I decided to put that away and move on. And I've loved this photo forever and decided it was time to get this scrapped. So that is what I did. I have some Jen Hadfield collections, and I've barely touched them. So I grabbed the 2 paper pads I owned and all the embellishments, and just started working with finding colors that worked with this. Some embellishments here from the collection, and voila, another page done. Again, from the Jen Hadfield, and I'm just kind of going along here with the Jen Hadfield pieces. Another one, and I didn't have embellishments that I loved that I thought worked well with this, and I think this is Jen Hadfield as well too. So I went into my, I think these are Paige Evans from the Paige Evans sticker book, and found some of those pieces and made them work in with this as well. So just pulling things in, it helps to know your stash. and no colors. So if you can, you know, flip through your sticker books. I basically kind of was keeping a couple of those. They sit right in front of me when I'm at a crop. They're to my left hand when I'm at home. But I basically was keeping them on the table right in front of me as I was working with a collection. If I'm like, oh, you know what, the Schmel sticker book will go great with this, or the Maggie Holmes one will go great with this, then I would just leave it on the table and page through it when I wanted embellishment. And then the last one here, again, the same collections here. This is a piece of yellow I pulled in because I didn't have a piece of yellow in the collection and knew that's what I really wanted to back this with. It's a story about a whiskey distillery that I went to with my sister and brother-in-law for my birthday. And then this is a 3x4 card. Again, that sits in a basket just in front of me when I am at a crop like this. And I was able to do that, and I totally forgot about this piece of paper. It's in the pad. It's gorgeous and beautiful, and I'm so glad that it's not just sitting in my stash anymore, that it's actually going to be in my books. And that, guys, is one of the cool things. I just took my books apart, kind of a long story, but my stepkids now have their books. And I took them apart about a month or so ago, and it was so cool to see some of my best loved papers as layouts. Even stuff that's old, I didn't go, oh my gosh, that's so old and looks awful. Like, you know, sometimes you look at stuff and think, why did I ever buy this? I didn't do that because it was on a layout. It was so cool. And I would think, oh, I remember how much I love that paper, and I've used it. Isn't that cool? Well, you can't answer me, but I think it's cool. Okay, so then I decided I had some photos that I still wanted to scrapbook from that Florida trip. I love this photo of my friend and I that I was with. So I did a little crossover, and I think actually I missed this. I think I did a little crossover here. This is a piece of that Kaiser Craft and the pieces from it, and this is a Paige Evans piece of paper. So I think I was working with more than one manufacturer at this point in time because I knew this paper existed and thought it would be great to use with us with this picture. That's kind of how I got there. I went back because I think I still had this paper to use. So anyway, combining the two. And again, part of that is just knowing your supplies really well and knowing that, oh yeah, I could combine these manufacturers and they're going to look great. I sent her a photo of this last night after I scrapbooked it, and she like sent me all sorts of hearts back, which was cute. So then again, I'm still working with that Paige Evans collection, and I knew I had some of these photos still from a trip last Labor Day, wanted to get these on a layout, loved this little story that I wanted to tell here, and it reminded me when I was going through the Paige Evans things, I saw this piece of paper and remembered this story. So I went and pulled these photos and did this story about the grasshopper drinks that we had and the funny little story that went with that. So then because I was scrapbooking these photos, this is actually from earlier that day when we were at dinner. Now I'm still in the Paige Evans folders, my paper file, pulled these three photos together. They are not great photos at all. The lighting in here was awful. It was kind of pink. Look at, you can see that. There really is pink lighting there. So none of us looks great. I tried to light it. These are actually better, and they're really blurry, but you know, I'm okay with scrapping blurry photos because it helps me remember what's going on. But so Paige Evans papers, and then the embellishment. So hopefully you're seeing like how my thought process goes when I'm scrapbooking. Okay, so the next stuff is the last kind of stuff that I did, but I'm going to show you sort of an evolution, and then I've got some kind of one-offs that I'll talk about a little bit. So I had not scrapped a ton of photos of my grandkids, and I have a ton of photos. So last night I'm like, okay, time to start scrapbooking some of the photos of the kids. And what I did is I intentionally went to things where I had a lot of like 3 or more photos, and you'll see this as I go, because I knew that would get a lot of photos scrapped, right? And give me some room in those envelopes. So that's what's going on here. So this is about a grandma date with my grandson. This is, trying to think. This is an Echo Park boy collection. and that's where this came from. I pulled that and the Simple Stories boy collection at the same time because I know I had both of them, and so these are the two collections. This is the Echo Park, this is Simple Stories, and you can use some of the things together, but not everything. Anyway, but I was working, you know, I'm scrapping the boys. That's my intention. So let's just go. Elle Studio journaling card. This is a paper from my Faux Solids because I wanted to bring this photo forward with all this stuff going on here. So I picked up on the yellow and this stripe to do that. And then, oh, this is cool. I have had these Heidi Swapp stars forever. I have this stack, and I've talked about this before, of stuff that sits on the side of my desk that I really want to use up. And I just added some stuff to it. Like, I need to use this one piece of an embellishment. But anyway, so this sits there. These Heidi Swapp stars were in there when I saw this paper. I thought, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this, but those stars need to all be gone. They need to all get on this paper. I've had these Heidi Swapp stars for, I don't know, 10 years, but it's time to get them used up, guys, right? So that's how that did that. And I'm just gonna, this is coming off there a little bit because I didn't get any ATG on it. So you'll see a little bit of repair here too, right? Okay, so then what I did is I picked about at least 5 or 6 groups of photos that I wanted to scrapbook. I think it's even more than that. See, let me think. Seven groups of photos. I just pulled them together. Okay, these 7 groups of photos of different activities. I want to scrap all of these before I leave here, is what I said to myself. And as a matter of fact, it got very late at night. I went to bed at 2:30 last night, and I finally had to stop. I'm like, okay, I have to come back to this tomorrow morning because it's time to go to bed or I won't be able to get up. So anyway, so this is the Simple Stories, and I'm pulling in just things from wherever I can. Some Elle Studio pieces here and here as well. So that's that layout. And then here's a double page layout. So this goes back again to this striped paper again. I just thought, oh, these photos, when I saw them, would look really good with that striped paper. And I have multiple pieces of this. I'm going to just move this a little bit. I think you can really see this because there's nothing past this on either side. So my faux solid paper I brought in to go with the yellow because you saw that yellow on the first layout I did, right? Found 2 additional pieces of paper there and just brought in some of the elements and stickers and that kind of stuff. This is some stars that I have from Bella Boulevard, but they're the blue color, so I knew those were there. I just pulled them together. The hearts that were the last one here again are some Bella Boulevard hearts here, and I just pulled those and put them on my desk because I knew they would work with the colors of these layouts once I used them anyway. So I pulled them to use, and then I just left them on my desk as I was working with all of these collections. So it's almost creating a kit as you go kind of a thing. And you'll notice, guys, I was so proud of myself. This green is not the exact green that's in here, but I pulled in other green and it kind of neutralizes it, and I love how it looks because it says in the backyard. How perfect would that be? How perfect could that be? Okay, then next, again, I pulled, this was part of the stack of photos. This is actually a fairly simple layout because it's really 2 pieces of paper here and stickers and a die cut and a little title. So 4 photos, 1 page, and just a little bit of a story here for them to remember this day. All right, and then this one was the last one I did last night of the kids, grandkids, and my stepson and his wife here. And my grandson was actually pushing away from his dad, and he's so strong here, and he's only 2 here at this point. So, or not even quite 2. He wasn't 2 here yet. He was 2 months from being 2, actually. So anyway, I saw this Strong and Brave, and I saw this Be Wild, Be Free, Be You, and I started cutting. I just cut all these squares up and was going to do one completely across, but they didn't fit. They weren't the right size. So then I just sort of made a little bit of a faux border up there, put a little border on the bottom, and stickers, and then these pieces from the alphabet here. so that's how that went. Okay, so I told you guys that I pulled like 7 sets of photos, so I still have photos to work with. And the other thing I thought, one of the other collections that I have a ton of that I haven't worked a ton with is Chamel's box of crayons. And so I grabbed that next. That was the next piece I grabbed. This is, this might be a border strip from Box of Crayons. I don't remember. Anyway, so that's where this is all coming from. Now, the cool part about this is I just bought this 6x8 journaling, the 6x8 journaling pad. Let me grab it here. Oh, and that Vicki Boutin collection, it doesn't say what it is. Sorry, guys. I don't think it says here. It does not. I thought I could tell you because this is the paper pad that I have that goes with it. But anyway, so I bought this journaling pad at Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago for $2.99, and I didn't know if I was going to like this because they're fairly big pieces. Oh my gosh, I love this and will buy her journaling pads, if not every time, on a fairly frequent basis because it is so cool what you can do with these. So look at this. I used it as a mat for my photo, but then I was able to journal on it. And I could have journaled more if I had more of a story, but I don't really have more of a story. I wasn't here. It's just this story that I have. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm pulling things from Box of Crayons. So there's the first one. And then I had these photos. So back to the Box of Crayons I go. Pieces. This is another one of the journaling pad pieces, but in that case I fussy cut a couple of 3 of the clouds out and did that. And I'm just pulling in all sorts of pieces. I did pull in an alphabet from Studio Calico there, but that's where that came from. So as I was going through, now I've finished all the groups of photos that I pulled from my stepkids, but as I was working with Box of Crayons, I kept running up against ice cream stuff from that. So this is from the journaling pad, and then I had die cuts, I had cut aparts, I had stickers, I had one of these applique pieces that I wanted to use. I kept running across it, so I'm like, okay, let's use though. I knew I had these 3 photos that had to do with this little story. It was below 20 degrees 3 days in a row, and we still have a dairy that produces their own ice cream in my hometown, and they actually made the national news with this. Their policy is that if it goes below 20 degrees Fahrenheit, on that day you get a free single dip cone. They had to do it for 3 days in a row. The first day they gave away over 1,000 cones, so kind of crazy. So anyway, this has been a policy since the 30s. The story behind this is the original owners used to make you eat them outside. They don't do that anymore. So anyway, so I added some flair for buttons and really stuck with the Chamel collection. But how cool is this? I used the ice cream stuff because I knew I had it, and I knew, again, from going through my photos that I had the photos. And I didn't wait. I'm just like, okay, I've got it. So I kind of pulled. After I realized I was seeing the ice cream, every time I saw an ice cream piece, I just grabbed it and I set it aside in a different part of my desk so that as soon as I was done with that fishing layout, I was ready to do this one. And then this is actually just a piece of paper from my faux solids because I knew that it matched the background of the wallpaper here. And then last Box of Crayons layout here, this is my darling little great nephew. This is going to go in my album instead of his because Auntie Kelly is actually appearing with him. And I could give this to them, but I think I'm going to keep it for myself for a while. I've given them all of his other layouts, so I'm going to keep one of them for myself. So I just saw this this heart paper and knew that this blue heart matched the top that I have on, which I actually have on today as well. And I went from there again. This is from the 6x8 pad. I don't remember if I told you, this is from the 6x8 pad, and this is from the 6x8 pad. And again, look I'm using it as some sort of mat and embellishment and then just journaling on it. So these things are awesome, awesome, awesome. So if you haven't gotten the 6x8 pads, I would recommend that you do that. Okay. Then next, one of the girls who was there brought her Cricut, and I have one. I didn't take it with me just because I didn't want to take the time to be cutting things, but she was just cutting a bunch of files. A lot of people were learning. We were all talking and learning together, even though a lot of us weren't. So she generously volunteered if we would give her paper to cut some files for us, and that's what happened. And this was on Thursday night. I decided that I would definitely use the 3 files that she cut for me before I left there, because they're hard to store. And I thought, I've got photos, I'm just going to do it. So that's what all of these are. So there's Mr. Harrison, again, cute boy. And this little cut file that's Shine Bright. This is a paper from a Dear Lizzie collection, an older one. I don't even know if that, I think that might be Doodlebug, but I don't know that for sure. And then I just added some stars from Elle Studio on it, just kind of randomly. Really simple, guys, because the cut file here is doing all the work. Here's another cut file that I used, and I've got something on there. Anyway, so use this one. This is a Paige Evans piece of paper that I found, because I thought it would be cool to do some sort of ombre thing, and I love how this turned out. I think it turned out really, really well. And positioning, the way she positioned this was really cool, because if it had flipped, I don't think I would have liked it as well with the light on the bottom. I love the light, dark on the top going to the light. And again, really simple. I kind of did what I did on the star here. I just used hearts here and then a little chipboard piece here. And in this particular case, I added the photo I did not here. So just something a little bit different. And then here is the last cut file. This as well is a Paige Evans cut file. I cut the photo to work in that wonderful, I think that might be the first time I've done that too, which was kind of fun. And just added some embellishments from some of my own hearts, some stickers, and a little bit of chipboard here. And then again, just a striped solid paper here. And then the next thing I did is I love these photos of my grandkids. So I was in my winter envelopes, and I don't remember exactly what I did first, but I scrapbooked a whole bunch of Christmassy winter things. And it's because I started out, I have 2 envelopes of winter paper. This is some of the Crate Paper Snow and Cocoa collection. So just used that collection and some stickers and things from other manufacturers and that kind of stuff, and got that layout done. Then I went to full-blown Christmas layouts, and hang on a second because I've got something here that is out of order. So then the next thing, this was in that same envelope, I think. This is a 2-page layout, and this is using, I think this is, well, it's not. I was going to tell you I thought it was mostly a Pebbles thing. It's not. But this is Elle Studio embellishments here. Even the letter stickers here are Elle Studio puffy stickers. So just added this in. And this was, again, I was thinking about what can I scrapbook that's going to use up a lot of my photos and get them on the page. So there's 9 photos on these 2 pages. All right. So that's that one. And then, and this one may have precipitated me going into those envelopes. I think it may have. This is, I wanted to get this run documented. It's one we did in December of last year. This is the last run I did in the series of 17. So this is a combination of some Pebbles papers and ephemera and some Elle Studio pieces. And again, I got 8 photos, sorry, done on a 2-page layout. So that makes me really happy because they, they're done. And here's a piece that didn't get glued down. That is one danger when you're scrapping fast, is sometimes you realize you lost or you didn't do something. So anyway, like I said, I made a really cool dent in the photos. Then since I was doing Christmas, I did my annual Christmas card layout, and what I do here is I take 2 sheets, usually they're solid sheets of paper, and then I do a collage of photos. Well, when I was arranging the photos on the solid sheets, I realized I was going to have a lot of spaces in between here. And normally what I do is fill that in with scrap paper, but some of them were so big, I decided to go see if I could find 2 pieces, and I decided to do green just because of all this red. I thought the photos would get lost on red. If I could find 2 pieces of green paper that matched, I found this old Elle Studio stuff, added some wood veneer here and there. These are things cut out from the cards, actually. Added some more wood veneer here, some numbers to do the year, and then some asterisks from that set, and that is done. So this is my annual Christmas card layout, and I've done this for probably about 10 years now. It's really cool to see how people grow and change. And then this is a one-off layout. The reason I did this is that I was at Hobby Lobby and they had everything Paper Studio off, and I walked by this floral piece of paper and loved it and decided I needed to buy it. And then since I bought it, I decided this doesn't go with anything. I need to use it this weekend before I leave this place. So I did that, added some Creative Memories pieces. So the crop that I go to, the person who actually hosts it is a Creative Memories consultant, but she doesn't push anything. She does bring product. She's so helpful if you have questions and that kind of stuff. Now I'm a pretty advanced scrapper, so I don't really have a lot of questions, but I had these two collections, this green and blue collection already, and I hadn't gotten into it yet, but when I saw this, I knew it would work with that, so I opened them up. I still need to use those more though. So that's, like I said, a one-off. I also have another one-off. When I was working on some of the photos of from my own stuff, I have this trip to Alexandria, Virginia, and I hadn't scrapbooked these photos of Alexandria. That very first layout I did, I actually think this is the second layout I did. I did the one from the Vola's Dockside Restaurant, and then I think I did this one to try to get through all of my Alexandria photos to get my stuff done. And this is a lot of crepe paper and Maggie Holmes, the crepe paper Here and Now collection as well too. So that's that one. That's a one-off. This is also a one-off. This is a collage of photos, before and after photos from my stepkid's new house. So Bella Boulevard. I grabbed this piece of paper because I decided I wanted to do it in gray, and then just went and found as many gray. Bella, I guess I pulled this card and then found the gray as well from Bella Boulevard, and the yellow and some Elle Studio stuff, and I think these are Jelly Bean Soup. So this is a lot of different manufacturers just trying to pull stuff in. I wanted to help neutralize some of the red carpeting here so that your eye didn't immediately go to just that. So there's red in this diagonal. So you're going from the top to the bottom. That red's going to really stand out for you, so your eye will follow that. This is another little one-off here. I knew I had a coffee cup layout to do, and I had bought this coffee collection from, I think, Echo Park, and I was like, I really need to use that. Plus I had some coffee stuff from Elle Studio, which is where this stuff all is. This is a Chamel thing, but I didn't have any embellishments for this coffee collection, so I had to pull them from other places. I was mad at myself. I have some Darling Cheeky Studio coffee things that I totally forgot about, but anyway, so this worked out really well. That's documented. This is actually just a piece from my faux salads. Again, faux salads dot stripes. Your eye reads it as a salad even though it has pattern. Then again, I was working on getting all of my 5K pictures. I wanted them done by the end of the weekend. So I did this race, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. It was in honor of Pi Day. And not only did we get a small cherry pie about that big, I won an award, the Average Jane Award. There's an Average Jane and an Average Joe, which are me and this guy that I don't even know who he is, in and you're the person smack dab in all the guys, and for me it was the person smack dab in all the women. So the cool part is they do a race. They'll do a race later this summer with all the Average Jane and Joe winners, and you can run in it even if you weren't, but my entry will be free to that one, so that's cool. And after I was all done, this is a cherry pie. I won a full cherry pie, which I promptly took to my stepkids because I was going over there anyway. I had put just the star embellishments on it, and as I was going through doing something else, I found these cherries, pulled the star off that was sitting right here, and put the cherries on and moved the star because I'm like, I can't not put those cherries on there. And it was so funny because after I did this, I think I found 2 more pieces of cherry paper, which is really funny. Although they were like more pink than anything. So, and then this is, I belong to a running team here. Basically it's to publicize because you pay for these races, it's publicizing the people who do these. So anyway, so that's that. And then last but not least, this is not the last layout I did, but just because it didn't specifically go anywhere, this is about a function I went to last November. And this one, I'm going to just overlap them like this so you can see. So these photos are really blue. I didn't realize how bad they were until I went to scrap them, but decided bluey and pinky, and the colors are off because obviously my ink cartridge was running out and I didn't realize it. And I think I just decided to print them and keep them because, you know, whatever, it's fine. And, ooh, this is not good. There is a foam square sticking to that. So there's a little more repair I need to do. That happens when you're doing 64 layouts at a crop. Anyway, I decided not to reprint them and just do them as they are. And so I wanted to work with some blues because, you know, a lot of these have a lot of bluey, pinky tones to them. So that's what I did. And I found 2 pieces of vellum. I knew I had this star vellum and thought that would be fun because Candlebox performed at the fundraiser. It's the lead singer of Candlebox right there. This is the group of friends that I was with. This is like a silent auction thing. And this is my friend who actually founded the foundation, and then his daughter. So it's the name of the foundation, and I should tell you guys this because it's really a cool thing. It's called This Time Tomorrow. The website is thistimetomorrow.org, and what they do is they people who have cancer are nominated to this board. Again, at thistimetomorrow.org, there is a nomination form there. And it is now nationwide. It started out in Wisconsin, but it's gone nationwide. So you can, if you don't live in Wisconsin, you can nominate people. They have a way to get these things to them. What you do is you nominate a person, and they call you if they're accepted in, and they arrange a surprise. They call it a RAC, so a random act of kindness. They work with you to make sure the person is home or wherever they're going to be when they do this. And they show up at their door, a lot of times at the house, and they give them a check for $3,000. At least that's what it's been. I think that's what it still is $3,000. But they give them a check, a lot of money. And all you have to do is nominate them, and they have to be found worthy. And basically, I think they accept most people. They do some research just to make sure that there is need there, because they don't want to just be giving money out. But they give over $100,000 away every year to do this. And this fundraiser is how they do it. So it's a pretty cool charity. One of my cousin's husband was a RAC recipient last year. I had saw that he had cancer. I don't know him all that well, so I texted my cousin's sister, who I do know very well, and said, because they were trying to figure out how to get them some help because there was some need there, and I said, go here, nominate him. If you need to, let me know. I can talk to my friend and make sure that he knows who that is, because the guy was from our hometown. We grew up in the same hometown. Anyway, so it's all based on a song too, by the way. He wrote a song for a friend of his more than 20 years ago who had cancer, who survived it, called This Time Tomorrow. And they've done 10 versions of that song, and this year they retired it. But anyway, it's a really cool charity, you guys, or foundation, an awesome foundation. And if you have a family member or a friend who has need and has cancer, and it doesn't matter what kind of cancer it is, again, it's thistimetomorrow.org, and you go to the RAC nominations area. I don't remember what it's called, but it is right there on the website. If you have any questions about that, let me know, and I'll do what I can to get you to the right place. But that was kind of a cool way to end this. You know, I hope for those of you, I didn't expect to talk about that, but that's what real life is some days, right? And cancer charities are pretty near and dear to my heart. Not only is this a friend's foundation, but I lost my dad to cancer. I lost one of my best friends to breast cancer 11 years ago, and I have another fairly close friend to breast cancer the year after that, and I have 2 friends right now. One of them is a survivor. The other one is battling a really nasty breast cancer. So those are pretty near and dear things to my heart, and I would be happy to help you get to the RAC process if you want to. But again, thistimetomorrow.org. If you have any questions on the layouts or anything like that, let me know. I hope you enjoyed your glass of coffee or wine or whatever it is that you're drinking. Hope you guys are all well, and I'll be back with another process video soon. Bye, everybody.